find out what happens when an iceberg and a glacier melts. We will answer the double question, what is the difference between an iceberg and a glacier, and what would happen if they melt? As you can see in the video, the ball on the right represents a glacier, and the ball on the left represents an iceberg. But what is the main difference? A glacier is a frozen water mass above the land, and an iceberg is also a frozen water mass but floating in the ocean. To be able to have life on this planet like we know at present, with so many species like the human one, the planet Earth needs to have a stable temperature. There is a phenomenon that explains that light-colored surface reflects sunlight, returning a large part of the sun's rays to the atmosphere. And on the other side, dark surface absorb the sun's rays. This phenomenon is known as albedo. This means that areas covered with ice and snow, such as the polar areas of the planet Earth, reflect radiation. If the poles melt, there will be more dark areas on the planet that absorb their sun's energy and therefore more warming. This explains the importance of the polar zones of the planet. The North Pole is what we know as the Arctic. It is full of floating masses of ice, the icebergs. These huge masses of ice remains underwater except for a small part that is at the sea surface. 90% is underwater and 10% on the surface. An iceberg has a volume of water that is already being occupied in the ocean. If it melts, it changes from a solid to a liquid state, but its volume hardly changes. For this reason, the melting of icebergs doesn't cause an increase in sea level. On the other hand, we have the South Pole, where Antarctica is located. Antarctica is one of the 6 continents of the planet. This already indicates that we are talking about land. However, 97.6% of this continent is covered in ice, a solid water that is not occupying a place in the ocean, but on land. Therefore, the melting produces a change from solid to liquid state that is added to the ocean, thus increasing its volume, increasing the sea level. In this experiment, we see how the melting of the glacier simulation has caused an increase in the water level, leaving the land underwater. And on the other side, we see how the melting of the iceberg simulation hardly produces changes in terms of the increase in water level. Solving then the initial question. Thank you so much for being there with me in my first video of I Leave It There. See you in the next video.